Welcome once again to Breakfast Central. Now, citizens across South Africa will today be gathering in rallies and singing anti-apartheid songs as the country commemorates its National Women's Day. Now, this day marks the strength and resilience of South African women in 1956 during the struggle against apartheid in the, of course, ongoing fight for equality, freedom and justice.
Now, on this day, 67 years ago, more than 20,000 women marched on the union buildings in protest against the extension of past laws to women. Now, this was seen as many as a system meant to control women even further and reduce women to passive beings at the mercy of men.
The theme for this year is Women's Socioeconomic Rights and Empowerment, Building Back Better for Women's Improved Resilience, highlighting the importance of women having equal access to economic opportunities, as well as the need to build stronger and more resilient communities. Joining us now to discuss this further is Leonora Tima, the founder of Kwanele, who's bringing Women Justice Organization. Good morning, Leonora. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Leonora.
Good morning.
Great to have you. Well, it's been more than 5 decades, and the question would really be how much has changed for women in South Africa in all these years. So every now and then we could have conversations on equality and equity, and having a more suitable society for women and all of that. We could have as many NGOs come into the African continent, in different parts of the continent, to try to create more of this, but the core of the issue is really how much has changed. So let's start with that. How much has changed for women in South Africa over the last 50 years?
So, look, I think if you look on the surface of it, that has been changed. But the question is, compared to change in general, how much has changed for women? And then I think the answer would be not enough. Because if you look in the grassroots communities and for the majority of women in South Africa, but also globally, pay is still not equal. Opportunity in the workforce is still not equal. We don't have enough women in leadership or in politics. And access to justice is still a struggle for many women on the ground.
Well, okay, Leonora, now from your answer, it's not a matter of if there have been challenges, but what the challenges have been. So I'd like to ask, like over the past 5 decades, what would you say have been the major barriers or challenges that women have faced in South Africa?
I think the same as women globally have struggled with patriarchal norms, societies that are still grossly unequal, and sorry, my child's part of being a mother.
It's all good.
In the room. I think it's the same struggles that every woman globally fights, but I think in societies like South Africa, where the disparity is much larger between rich and poor, I think the struggles are then much larger. And so, it's just, for some women, it's a struggle of getting equal pay. Whereas here, I think the struggle is just have enough food to eat, or access to a job that will actually pay you is the struggle. And I think that's where you see the difference.
Yeah, of course. But are there some positives, that we have also recorded? Are there some successes that South Africa has achieved in advancing women's rights and economic empowerment over time?
Yes, no, of course. And I think especially in South Africa, where you see such an amazing constitution, definitely there have been positives, there have been wins. And I think if you look at the universities and the amount of young women now being able to access university, there definitely has been positive change. However, that said, is it enough? Is it actually something that's worth celebrating? That I don't know.
All right, Leonora, now for a lot of women, even women outside of South Africa, but on the African continent, when you talk about South Africa, you talk about gender-based violence, you talk about crime against women. And looking at the government involvement, I would like to say that to what extent do you think that the government has, maybe made amends to make life better or living better for the women in South Africa? And has the government done enough to protect and empower these women?
So I run an organization that we're specifically looking at gender-based violence. We're a tech-based organization where we look at increasing reporting rates for gender-based violence. And your answer is no. I mean, you're talking about a government where 2 years ago, a mayor in a community local to me was sworn into power who was a convicted child rapist. What does that tell you? It tells you that gender-based violence is not something that is taken seriously at a government level. So therefore, how can it be taken seriously at a grassroots level? We deal with women every day who are denied access to justice by the service providers who are actually supposed to enable that justice. And that comes from poor government leadership.
Yeah. The events that are being celebrated today, of course, started sometime in 1956. And of course, it has made history. Maybe, of course, a lot of young South Africans may not even remember, the events of that era. But talk about how your organization is going to commemorate this day. What initiatives is your organization embarking on today that, of course, will continue to put these memories in the minds of South Africans and continue to honor women?
So we were supposed to have a picnic today with survivors from all over the areas that we serve to celebrate resilience and courage. Unfortunately, because of the ongoing taxi violence in the Western Cape, we've had to cancel all of our celebrations because unfortunately it's not safe to transport anyone currently. And yeah, we have quite a serious violence problem ongoing in Cape Town currently.
All right, Leonard Timmer, founder of Kwanele, the Bring Women Justice organization. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you so much for having me.